club race for Group 2 cars around Spa-Francorchamps. We have had a qualifying session, so we'll run through the grid before we start. We are using GR2 cars today, unlimited with full tuning. So we are producing around about 850 horsepower with quite a bit of downforce as well on these cars. So let's go through the grid, and on pole position we have Cez with his Honda NSX. In second place we have Dan driving the Nissan GTR. Third on the grid we have Manos in a Honda NSX. Fourth we have Richie with a Honda NSX. In fifth place we have Pickles with a Audi A5. In sixth we have Sean with a Honda NSX. Seventh we have Zoe in a Honda NSX. In eighth we have AK in a Honda NSX. And in ninth we have Mike also in a Honda NSX. So let's get this race started and let's see how things go. So they're off. Brilliant start from Richie by looks of things. Challenging Cez up to La Source on first lap. Cez has the inside line and Julie takes the lead from Richie. Then Manos in third, Sean 4, Dan 5. So a poor start from Dan there, dropped from second to fifth. Zoe 6, Pickles 7, Mike 8, and AK will be 9th. So Richie looking for a way past Cez up to Lecombe on lap 1. Can't find it, so Cez goes through Lecombe as the leader of the race. The other thing that we do within GERC is we normally have a 3 tyre rule. There are 3 forms of slick tyres, soft, medium and hard. Normally in a race you would have to use all 3 compounds, but as Spa is one of the tracks where it potentially can rain on, the tyre rule is discarded, and they have a free tyre choice, so they can use all softs, all mediums, whatever they wish to do. Race is 60 minutes long, so it's a timed race, so basically it's as many laps as you can do within the 60 minutes, and whoever does the most laps is the winner. So here we are coming towards the end of lap 1 with Cez out in the leads, just coming up through Blanchimont, and then we've got a battle going on for second, third and fourth already between Richie, Manos and Dan. So we'll drop back and see how they're going. So you've got the 3 of them there, Richie, Manos and Dan. Dan just slipping up the inside of Manos there into the bus stop chicane. So at the end of lap 1 we've got Cez, Richie, Dan, Manos, Sean, Zoe, Pickles and then AK, and then unfortunately Mike has dropped to the rear of the field. So Cez leading, going down through Air Rouge, Radion, and then up the Kemmel Straight. So let's go and jump on board with Cez and go for a lap of Spa. So here we come up through Lecombe. So we've got the right, left, and then the right again. Short straight which drops downhill into the Bruxelles hairpin. So keep it nice and tight on the right hand side here. Short straight again downhill to this sharp left hander, which some refer to as Speaker's Corner, some refer to as Jackie Curve. Plunging downhill now to this fast double apex left hander at Pouan. Turn it in and then flat out all the way through the exit. Then coming up to this right left chicane, which they call Piff Paff. So through the right hander, then the left, quite nice corners, and then up to Cruel Frere Curve, nice and easy, keep it tight, and then basically now full throttle all the way back to the start finish through Stavelot, where the old original Spa-Francorchamps circuit comes from the left-hand side to join up about now, through this left-hand, no-name left-hander, and then through Blanchimont, probably 195 miles an hour there, up towards the bus stop chicane, with a right and left, across the start-finish line now, and that's a 156.7 from Says up to La Source. Nice tight right-hander, tuck it in tight, and then full power all the way down, plunge downhill. This here is turn 2 with no name, and then you get to Air Rouge here. Then you go up the hill through Radion, and you can't see the exit. You just have to aim for the trees and just hope that there's no one there. Then back up the Kemmel Straight. So that's a quick lap of Spa with Cez, who is leading quite comfortably from Dan. In fact, Dan can see Cez disappearing in the distance there. So let's have a look. So we've got Dan, Richie and Manos having a good fight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. We'll drop back and see what's going on with the other guys in the race. So we've got Sean 5, Pickle 6, Zoe 7. Those three are having a good scrap between the three of them. Then we've got Mike, who's a little bit remote from them, just going around the hairpin now, where Pickles, Zoe and Sean are going through Pouan. And then just behind Mike we have got AK in 9th place. So this is a Christmas special race. We don't normally run GR2 Unlimited. As you can see, a few of them have done them up, make the cars look Christmassy. So AK and Cez are running the same livery, and I believe Manos and Zoe are running the same livery as well. So Zoe looks like she's giving Dan a bit of a hard time here. So Dan's obviously had an issue during this lap and dropped back down to 6th. Dropped in amongst the battle with Pickles and Sean and Zoe. So maybe he's had a spin somewhere. So I think we just saw Pickles taking a dive on Sean. So Pickles now jumps ahead of Sean up into 4th place. Sean 5, Dan 6, Zoe 7 and Mike 8. So we'll just keep an eye on Pickles and Sean for just a second, see if Sean can get back past Pickles. The other thing that will happen during this race is we have got tyre wear and fuel consumption turned on. So we'll run through the tyres very quickly. So we've got Cez there on mediums, just over half a tank of fuel. Manos is also on mediums, again just over half a tank of fuel left. Richie on mediums, just over half a tank of fuel. Sean in 4th, little less, just around half. We just missed Dan, so Dan has just got back past Sean. He's also on the medium, so he's nearly got 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So Dan is doing really well on fuel. Then let's go to Zoe. She's running on the soft tyre, again half tank of fuel. Pickles has dropped behind her again now, running on the medium tyres, just about 2/3 of a tank of fuel left. Sean we've already covered. Mike is half a tank of fuel and is on the mediums, and AK about 2/3 of a tank of fuel and is running on the soft. So from that I would expect to see Zoe and AK into the pits first. Probably we'll have Cesar, Manos, Richie and Dan go in further, and then we'll see how the race pans out. But strategy will play its part in the race, and we will see what comes out at the end of 60 minutes. So I would, as I say, looking at the tyre wear on Zoe's car, I would suspect that Zoe will be the first one into the pits. Tyre wear obviously on the softer tyre is higher than the mediums. It is theoretically the quicker tyre, but it will wear out and degrade a lot quicker than the medium or the hard tyre. So we've got Dan's now managed to get his way back, fight his way back up into 4th place, coming through this left-hander. So he's dropped back a little bit from Manos and Richie, who are just going through Piff Paff, as Dan's going through Puon with Zoe, Pickles, Sean and Mike. So Mike's picked up a penalty there for a track limit infringement, which he will have to serve on the fast bit as they run up towards Blanchimont. There's AK coming through Puon now. So the field is starting to spread out, so you can see in the track map on the top right hand side, says he's just coming over the start finish line now. You've got Manos and Richie just going through the bus stop chicane, and then you'll have Dan, Zoe, Pickles and Sean just following through, followed a few seconds later by Mike, and then obviously we have AK here, who's just coming up to the no-name left-hander. Let's go and see what Says he's doing. You can see on the right-hand side as well there that Says so far has clocked the fastest lap at a 1:55.684, and he's been very consistent. Lap 1 will always be a little bit slower because obviously you've got to go from the standing start, but after that he's soon got in his stride 56.7, 56.4, 55.6, which is thus far the fastest lap of the race, and then a 56.3. So if we compare those to Manos, you can see Manos is a 56.4 on the last lap, so he actually lost a tenth of a second to Says, which is pretty good going. So you've got Manos, Richie. So Richie just coming down through Puon. See where Dan is. Here it comes. So he's got a little bit of ground to make up on Richie and Manos. Zoe's running in 5th. Pickle 6th, so they're pretty close on track. Sean's just behind in 7th. So just Pickles is just out of reach of Sean really. Mike a little bit further back from Sean, and then AK just coming down through Puon, just coming through the double left now. So there we go, another lap in the book for Says, 56.2. Manos at 56.9, so 0.7 of a second into the advantage of Says. So we've got Richie 59.5, so a little bit quicker. And in fact, here we go, Zoe is already in the pit lane at the end of lap 6. So the soft tyres look like they're only going to be able to manage about 6 laps and about 12 minutes of racing roughly. So remember, this is a 60-minute race, 3 tyre choice. So let's see what Zoe does with the tyres. Tyres are done, fuel's going in. Let's see, I'd imagine go for a full tank of fuel. So there we go, out the pit's gone on to the medium tyre. So I would suspect we're probably looking then at a stint length of 9 to 10 laps on the medium tyre, which basically would be a tank full of fuel. And Zoe's dropped down to 8th position. But as I say, first person to make a stop. So the other person that was on soft tyres was AK. Let's see how he's getting on. And you can see there his tyres are quite worn, so I would expect to see AK in potentially at the end of this lap to change those and either put a new set of softs or mediums on, and again refuel with a full tank of fuel. And if you go back to the top and have a look at Says, he's running on the medium, so he's got a quarter of a tank of fuel left, and tyres are only about a quarter warm, so the medium tyre looks to be the one. So it says there's probably got another 2, maybe 3 laps of fuel there. We'll go back to Manos. He's got slightly less fuel, so he's probably running slightly different gear ratios in his Honda compared to Says. He looks like he's using a bit more fuel, so Manos, I would expect maybe at the end of this lap or at the end of lap 9. Richie's got a bit more fuel, just over a quarter of a tank, so he may be able to again go maybe to lap 10, maybe lap 11. So ideally what they're going to be looking to try and do is get to about the 20-minute mark if possible on this tank of fuel. That way they can do it in 2 stops. If they stop within sort of before 20 minutes, you're going to be looking at 3 stops. So Dan is doing brilliantly on fuel here. His tyre wear is really low as well. He's got about a third of a tank, so he's part way, about quarter of the way through lap 8. And he's probably got more fuel on board, more fuel left than anybody else. So Dan is looking good for a 2 stop. Oh no, Richie's just made a mistake. He's just gone off on the right hand side there. Let's have a look. Let's see what happened to Richie there. So he's just come. Oh, he's just caught the curb, and it's fired him off to driver's right. So Dan goes past. So Dan up into 3rd now. Richie dropped back to 4th. Fortunately, there's a big enough gap to Pickles in 5th that he's only lost in 1 position, although you can just about see Pickles there lurking in the background ready to strike should Richie make another mistake. You also see there's damage to Richie's car front bumper and the front right hand wheel stroke tyre suspension unit. That lasts for 30 seconds and then it self clears and we've got damage on weak here. So Richie's now back up to full pace, so he's dropped back behind Dan. So where's Dan gone? Right, so here we go. Manos into the pits. He was using more fuel, so he's just got the 1 litre of fuel left. So these are 100-litre fuel tanks, and Manos is down to 1 litre. Tyres absolutely no problem. With tyre wear like that, he potentially could even try and double stint the tyres if he wanted to, and not change them. But that's a bit of a risk. Tyre change takes generally 3 to 4 seconds, and the rest of the time in the pit lane is spent refuelling the car. Sean looks like he's in behind him as well, again with just the 1 litre of fuel. So these are the early stoppers. So I suspect that stopping this early probably means they're going to be on for 3 stops. Where if we look at how much fuel particularly Dan's got, he's got a quarter of a tank now, where Manos has obviously used all of his fuel. So Dan's got 25% more fuel left than Manos. So Dan's looking really good here. Really good on fuel. In actual fact, Dan is the only one using the Nissan GTR Group 2 car. These are actually based on the Japanese GT500 cars. So Dan's doing a great job there on fuel. Let's pop up. So Sez has now got his fuel light on. So I would suspect to see Sez in at the end of this lap. So where are we? We're just over 17 minutes into the race. So yeah, Sez can build up a lead. And if he could look after his fuel, he could potentially do it on 2 stops. But Dan shouldn't be a problem for doing it on 2. So let's see what Sez does. Does he turn left or go into the pits? He goes into the pits. So he's obviously low on fuel. Let's see how much he's got. He's got 4 litres left, so not enough to do another lap. And his tyre wear probably just over halfway. So I would imagine that Sez will take another set of medium tyres and a full tank of fuel. So Dan's just gone into the lead while Sez is refueling. So there are full tank of fuel and new set of medium tyres there for Sez. So now he's start chasing Dan down. Richie's running third. Manos fourth. Pickles has just come into the pits in his Audi. So we'll see what Pickles does with fuel and tyres. There we go, up on the Ajax, tyres being changed, wheels and tyres. Fuel now going in. Sean's just jumped ahead of him, as has Mike. There we go. Away we go, and he stayed on medium tyres. So he's now dropped back to 8th. So Sean's just ahead of him, already stopped. Then we've got Mike just ahead of Sean as half a tank. But Mike, interestingly, has gone on to the hard tyre. So we'll see how that pans out for Mike. Zoe is running 5th and is out on a fresh set of mediums and has about 3/4 of the tank. But if you remember, Zoe was the first one to pit on the mediums at the end of laps on the soft tyre, sorry, at the end of lap 6. So Zoe's done a shortish stint, so potentially could do it on 2 more stops. So we'll see what happens there with Zoe and how that pans out. Manos running 4th. We know he's already stopped, and he stopped at around about the 15-minute mark. Now I would think Manos is probably looking at 3 stops. Richie in now. So Richie's bang on at 20 minutes. Got 4 litres of fuel left. So Richie could do this on 1 more stop. If he can get to the 40-minute mark, the timer down in the left-hand bottom corner there. So 20 minutes, 20 seconds now as Richie just comes to a stop. Off come the wheels and tyres. On go the new ones. Fuel going in. Richie's car looking rather attractive there. Let's see. Here we go. Full tank of fuel for Richie. Away he goes. Drops down to 5th place behind Zoe. Zoe so far is the only one of the front runners that's put a set of soft tyres on. So that's probably leapfrogged her above Richie during the cycler's stop. So Richie is generally speaking a slightly quicker driver. So I would expect Richie to close Zoe down and get past her at some point and resume in the top 4. So we'll see how that goes. So Zoe is there running 4th, but probably quite likely half a tank of fuel, where Richie's now got a full tank and another set of mediums. Manos running 3rd with about 2/3 of a tank of fuel and another set of new mediums. Again, Manos tends to be very consistent with his lap times. So 156, 157s there. Cesar running 2nd currently at the moment, but as you can see there, Dan's only just ahead of him. So Cesar is basically a fuel stop now ahead of Dan, and then in comes Dan. So Cez now resumes the lead. Let's see what Dan does with tyres and fuel, see which way he goes. So he's got tyres at about just over half warm, so he sounds pretty good on tyres as well. Let's see what Dan does. So old wheels and tyres off, new ones on, off the Ajax, fuel going in. Would he short fuel? What tyres has he gone for? We'll find out in just a sec. He's gone for a set of softs, so Dan potentially looking at doing a short middle stint. Will that leapfrog him up ahead of Manos and Richie and keep them out of reach? And we'll see how many laps Dan can get out of the tyres. Be an interesting one. Let's just hop on board with Dan and see how he goes. Up Kemmel Straight. This is top speed. Just hitting 201 miles an hour, so pretty quick through Lacombe. 2nd gear, 3rd gear, up to 4th potentially, yeah, for here. back down to second for Brazils. Up the corner, nice and smooth. And third, keeps it in third through the left-hander. Fourth, and then fifth gear. Does he drop to fourth? Yeah, drops to fourth down through Buon. Fifth on the exit. I was there we go. Fifth on the exit. Probably down to third for Biff Path. So through the right-hander, through the left-hander. Maybe briefly touch fourth, just up to Paul Frere. Yeah, back to second for Paul Frere. Third, and then flat out now through Stavolo. Through this little lazy right. Then through the no-name left-hander here. And then through Blanchimont. What speed does he do through Blanchimont? 192 there through the apex. Up to the bus stop with a tight right. Down to, all the way down to first gear. Then second on the exit to stop the wheel spin. Over the start-finish line. And then back up towards La Source. Nice and tight. The right hand down to first, second. And then power all the way out. Heading towards Air Rouge and Radion. Through the left, right. And then guess where the exit curve is. Lovely from down there. And then back up onto the Kemmel Straight. And heading back towards Lake Cum. So down there in the Nissan GTR on a lap of Spa, and Zoe is in the NSX. So, and there's Richie just back past that. So yeah, Richie back up to fourth, and Zoe down to fifth. So we're down ball for a moment. We'll watch Richie. Through the left, use the exit curb, down towards Dawn, chuck it in to the left, let it drift right, and then back to the left, let it drift right again, and then Richie's on a mission, he's disappearing from Zoe, through the right, on the left, and the left. The right hander through Stavolo. So Zoe 1.8 seconds off the fastest lap, which up till now is a 1:58.4. Zoe achieving through Blanchimont 193, so slightly quicker than Dan, not much. Not quite touching 200 miles an hour just before the bus stop. Through the right and the left, use the curbs. Gentle on the power, easy to get wheel spin out of the bus stop chicane. So that's a 2-minute lap from Zoe up to the source, nice and tight. Get over to the curb and then power out. Let's go and have a look and see what Richie's doing. So up through Radion, up onto Kemmel Straight. So no one in front, and then we can just about see Zoe at the back of the car. Zoe's holding her own against Richie, which is great. You can see from the little map at the bottom there, really close. You can see Dan, or it'll be Dan just going through that left-hander, where Richie's just coming up to now. So Dan's got a bit of a lead over Richie. Let's go back and see what's going on with Sean. So Pickles has just got in front. Sean's got a track limit penalty there. So Sean and Pickles are having a great race between the two of them. So let's have a watch of Sean chasing Pickles in the Audi. Sean in the Honda NSX, down through Biff Path. Pickles runs a little bit wide. Ooh, little touch there from Sean. Oh, Wow. So Pickles is now recovering. So yeah. So what happened there? Let's have a look from Sean. Was there a touch from Sean? So Sean goes to the inside. Yeah, it looks like there was a little touch from Sean on the back of Pickles. Just unsettled Pickles and caused him to spin. Gets back on the track, gets going again. So where's Mike? So Mike's just coming through Dawn. So only the one place lost. I think Sean's just potentially backing off here, waiting for Pickles to come back past him, which is a very gentlemanly thing to do and is the correct thing to do. So obviously Sean feels he did touch the back of Pickles, which caused the spin. So he's just backed off, waiting for Pickles to catch him back up. Hopefully they can resume their battle. See there, it cost Pickles 14 seconds. So Mike just coming up to La Source, smooth right-hander, and down the endurance start, finish straight. At least where they start the Spa 24 hours on the run down towards Eau Rouge. AK coming up to La Source as well, so AK being again consistent, fairly new to the GERC series, lapping 202.20 there is his fastest. So if we pop up the front and have a look at what Cesar is doing, and then we can see that Cesar there is the fastest guy on the track at a 1:55.6. Says he's well into the groove. You see there as well, Manos just making his second pit stop at the 30-minute mark. So I think it's fair to say that Manos is going to end up doing 3 stops. Dan's just gone up into second place there. Richie's gone up to third as well now. So Manos drops to 4th, but fuel is going in the car, so we'll see how far behind Richie he comes out. In fact, Zoe's popped up to 4th as well. So there goes Zoe. So we're right on board for a moment with Manos. Let's have a see. Let's have a check with that. So Zoe's got about half-worn tyres. Fuel lights just come on just as she goes up camera straight, so she's going to be in the pits at the end of this lap, as is Sean, currently in there again at 31 minutes gone. So Sean's going to struggle to do this, get to the end without stopping again. Mike's just jumped ahead of Sean. Sean is there in the pits. AK running in 9th. Cesar leading, just over a quarter of a tank of fuel. Tyres are in good condition as well. 56.3, so again Cesar is being really consistent with his lap times. Dan just coming through Blanchimont, so Cesar's got quite a decent lead. He's just going up to Radion, and Dan just coming up to bus stop. That's a decent lead for Cez. So Dan's just coming over the start finish line to see where Richie is, just coming up to bus stop. So Dan's got a reasonable lead over Richie as well. Half a tank of fuel left for Richie, so he probably half a tank, so he should be able to get to about the 40-minute mark with what he's got, and then that will be his final stop of the race. Zoe is in the pits now. 32.5 minutes gone. going to be a struggle to get to the end of the race from here without stopping again. So it's going to be two 15-minute-ish stints for Zoe potentially, or she could go for a longer stint on a medium tyre and then potentially swap to softs at the end and be a little bit quicker. Pickles just jumped ahead of Zoe. Oh, Pickles has spun just on the exit of La Source, which is really, really easy to do. And in fact, because of that spin, Zoe pops out still in 5th place, just ahead of Pickles. That's really, really easy to spin on the power. So that's allowed Mike to close the gap again on Pickles. Sean just coming over the start finish, but Sean has made a second pit stop. So he's got a blue flag, so you know, imagine that's probably says starting to, yep, it is, it says closing on to lap 8th place. So he's already lapped AK in 9th. He's closing up on Sean. So we do get the blue flags here, as we do in real racing, to warn slower cars that there's a faster car approaching, and just be aware that you might need to move off of the line just to let them go and not interrupt their race. So Sean has got the blue flag with Says closing down on him now. So AK going through Lacombe. Now with Says, as we see, already closing in on Sean. Dan just coming up to Lacombe. So tyres, there we are. Dan's on the soft tyre. So he's done 1, 2, 3, 4. He's on his 6th lap now with those soft tyres. So potentially this lap in the pits, or maybe if he can manage the tyres, the next lap. So 6 or 7 laps is what we're looking at for a soft tyre stint, where a medium tyre stint we could be looking at 10 or 11 laps. So quite an offset on the tyres. Zoe's obviously used the softs already, Dan's on them now. It'll be interesting to see if Says, Richie and Manos decide to use the soft, or whether they can make it to the 40-minute mark and therefore potentially save themselves a fuel stop. In fact, Says it is in now. With 12 litres of fuel left in the tank. We're stopping at 36 minutes roughly, so he's probably going to need a splash and dash towards the end of the race. We'll see, will Dan get back in front of him? Fuel's starting to go into Sez's car, as you can see in the top graphic on the left hand side. So Sez now has got a full load of fuel. Away he goes, and he has stayed on the medium tyre, so he's on the pit lane exit now. Is he out in front of Dan? Yes, I think he is. Yep, there we go. So Says he's out in front, just going through the fantastic Air Rouge Radion section of the track, up the hill onto the Kemmel Straight. Over 200 miles an hour, which is really quick in one of these GR2s. So Dan is obviously a lot closer, but Dan is going to have to stop probably at the end of this lap, because those soft tyres are feeling very sorry for themselves now. And Dan's also picked up a half-second penalty, probably for track limits somewhere. So Richie running third, just going through Lacombe. Manos fourth, just going through Lacombe as well. So they're fairly close. Zoe in a comfortable 5th, just coming out of the La Source and down the hill, so quite a distance behind Manos. So the top 4 have definitely broken away. Mike, let's see where Mike is, just coming down the hill through a Rouge. So Zoe's halfway along the Kemmel. Mike is just coming onto the Kemmel Straight now, so half the length of the camel, so fairly close, but Zoe has made 2 stops. Mike, I believe, has also made 2, but he's gone onto the soft tyre, so he'll be really quick at the moment. But those tyres are not got much life left in them, probably maybe another couple of laps if he's lucky. Sean has got just over half a tank of fuel and is on a newish set of mediums. So the medium seems to be the tyre to go on. There we go. Dan's just come into the pits now at 38 minutes. So if Dan's careful with his fuel, this will be Dan's last stop. So there's many 7 laps on those soft tyres. Kept himself 28 litres of fuel, so he will fill it back up to 100 litres. So there we go, away he goes. Probably, yep, gone back onto the medium tyre. So I think that's probably Dan's last stop. It's dropped him down to 4th place. So just as he goes through Rouge, Manos is halfway up, or probably 3/4 of the way up Kemmel, just going into Le Camp. See how far in front Richie is. Richie's coming down to the Bruxelles hairpin, so interesting. Richie's going to have to stop for fuel. His fuel lights come on. Mike's just come back into the pits on soft tyres, so those tyres didn't last very long at all. It's 16 litres of fuel, so again, Mike, if he fills the tank up and goes to medium, potentially could get to the end of the race if he can manage 10 laps on a tank of fuel, which is doable. We've seen that before, but the Nissan seems to be better on the fuel than the Honda NSX. So Richie there, 2nd place. Let's just hop on board. We'll wait for Richie to come across the start finish. In fact, no, Richie's going to go into the pits, isn't he, because his fuel light's on. So let's go and find Manos. There he is. So let's hop on board with Manos and see how he does. What does he do through Longimore? 193, 105. So down, all the way back down to 1st gear. Richie has indeed gone into the pits. 2 litres of fuel left in the car. So Manos will now jump up into 2nd place, but he will have to stop again before the end of the race. So down through the source, really slow corner the source, and then downhill, dips at the bottom of Bear Rouge here through the left-hander, up through Radion, up onto the Kemmel straight. See what speed Manos gets. Tops out at 97, 198, 199, 200 miles an hour just before he brakes to get into Le Camp. Through the right, left, right. Drops downhill towards the hairpin, which dips, which goes downhill all the way around. Still going downhill at this point through the left-hander. Still plunging downhill towards Pouron. Turns left through Pouron, 130 mile an hour through the first part, then accelerates all the way through the second part, up towards Pif Af, down to 3rd, through the right, through the left, probably briefly up to 4th gear, probably down to 2nd or 3rd for this right hand, down to 2nd. Powers out through Stavolo, so 0.6 off of his fastest time of the so far. Through the left-hander, through this fantastic Blanchiment, which in these guys is absolutely flat. Don't even think about lifting. Up to bus stop, back down to 1st for the right, flick it right, flick it left, and then back over the start-finish line. There's a lap of Spa with Manos. Dan just coming out of bus stop, so when Manos makes his 3rd stop, which as things turn out, he stopped at 15 and 30 minutes, so he's going to be about a 45-minute mark. So probably this lap and one more potentially for Manos before he makes a stop. Dan will jump ahead of him because he's close enough. So yeah, Dan will definitely get ahead of him. Richie just coming out of La Source, so it could be tight between Manos and Richie, depending on how much fuel Manos has got left and how much he needs to take. So it could be a bit of a race to the finish between the two of them. Zoe just coming through La Source now. Probably going to have to make another splash and dash pit stop towards the end of the race on half a tank of fuel and medium tyres. So probably too far back to do anything about Richie or Manos, I would have thought, but very comfortable in 5th place there. Sean is 6th, and he has got Pickles and Mike closing down on him. So Mike has gone for the soft tyre again. So it's 2 stints on the soft tyre for Mike, which is an interesting way of doing it. Not sure that he's going to have enough tyre there to get to the end of the race, but we will see. Pickles on the medium with 3/4 of a tank of fuel. That could be tight getting to the end of the race. What Sean got. So Sean's only got 1/4 of a tank of fuel left, so Sean is definitely going to have to stop again. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how those 3 work out. So we've got 1/4 of a tank on medium, 3/4 of a tank on medium, and then with Mike we have got where's Mike? I've lost him. There we are. So we've got Mike on soft and 3/4 of a tank. So we've got a real mixed bag with these 3 of what's going on. So Mike will be theoretically the quicker of the 3 at the moment, but will his tyres last? Will he have to stop again? Sean's definitely going to have to stop again. Pickles, I would say, probably looking in the box seat of these 3 to end up in 6th place. So in 9th we've got AK, so he's quite a way behind Pickles, to be honest with you. So I think his place is fairly well set at 9th. So Says is still leading. Pulling away, so Says he's just coming up to Blanchimont as Manos is coming down to Piff Path, but Manos is now going to have to stop because his fuel warning light has come on. So what will Manos do? So he's obviously going to stop. Will he take a full tank? Will he go for another set of mediums, or will he potentially go for a set of softs? I suspect mediums because that's what he's done all race so far. Putting a lap there on AK. So Dan just come out Paul Frere, going through Stavolo now. So Dan will definitely get ahead of Manos. So where's Richie? Let's have a look. So Richie's just coming through Stavolo or Paul Frere now. It could be close between Richie and Manos, but I think Richie's definitely got enough fuel to get to the end of the race here, I think, because he stopped with 40 odd minutes to go. So, and Richie's looking good for fuel. Manos is in the pits now, so we'll stick with Richie and see where he comes out in relation to Manos. So Dan has jumped up to 2nd, got ahead of Manos now. Richie through the bus stop. The front brake discs are absolute glowing cherry red. Under hard braking for that bus stop. So Manos has got fuel going in the car now. Richie's coming through La Source. So who's out first? It's Richie by looks of things. Has jumped Manos. Should we have a look? Let's have a look. Yeah, indeed. Richie has jumped Manos. So we now have Manos on the chase of Richie. So this will be a really interesting last 13 minutes. Can Manos catch Richie? Or can Richie stay ahead of Manos? So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Dan looks fairly comfortable now in 2nd place. Plenty of fuel, plenty of tyres. So I think Dan's going to the end of the race. Says in a similar position, plenty of tyres, half a tank of fuel. So Says should be all right as well to go towards the end. So Zoe there in comfortable 5th place. So just going through Le Com, as Manos is just going through Pouron, so a fair decent gap. Pickles just coming up through Air Rouge just as Zoe goes round Roselle's hairpin, but Mike is right on Pickles, so that's swapped around then with her. There we go. In fact, Sean is in the pits now for potentially his final stop. Takes not quite a full tank of fuel, and he's out on the soft tyre, so Sean reckons that he can do 12 minutes. Well, 12 minutes would be about 6 laps roughly round here, 6 to 7 laps. So we will see how that pans out. Mike's gonna have to stop again, I think, because I don't think his tyres are gonna last. So will Sean be quick enough on a new set of softs to leapfrog Mike when Mike comes into the pits? And what tyres will Mike take? Will he go for another set of softs? I think if I was Mike, I'd probably get in the pits now to cover off Sean and try and minimise the advantage Sean's got on tyres, but he's also stuck behind Pickles as well. So Pickles he's just got past him, so we know that Pickles is on the medium tyres. Probably got enough fuel there to get to the end. Could be tight. So Sean, full tank of fuel, well, full tank, 3/4 of a tank. He can absolutely go for it now. With 11.5 minutes there, so yeah, six laps. AK coming down through Pouron, just being passed by Dan there. Well done, AK, moved aside nicely. Didn't interrupt Dan's race. In fact, Mike has come into the pits. Let's see what Mike does. It's Sean we need to be watching. So Sean just coming through Blanchimont now. 191, which is pretty quick. Up to the bus stop. Turning right. Turning left. Out onto start finish straight. Over the line. Will he jump Mike? That's the question. No, Mike appears to be out the pits. There we go. Mike has come back out. Half a tank of fuel. 10 minutes to go. Wow, that's going to be close. Sean on 3/4 of a tank of fuel, and they are both on soft tyres. So we will see what goes on there. The other one we need to watch is Manos closing down on Richie. Manos generally is the slightly quicker of the two drivers. He's got 9 minutes now basically to catch what looks like 2 or 3 second gap. Richie through Rouge now. Manos just coming through there. Dan is basically the length of the Kemmel straight ahead. Zoe's just come in the pits for her final stop. There's 9 minutes left, so it's 4 or 5 laps, so probably it makes sense to go for a soft tyre and be able to do the remainder of the race. Not a problem how much fuel we're going to put in. Got a decent lead over Pickles though, so shouldn't lose 5th place. There we go, 62 litres and out on soft tyres. So Zoe looking good for 5th. Says just coming out of the hairpin there, just coming up potentially towards the lap Zoe. So Pickles just coming down the endurance start straight. So Mike just coming across start finish, and Sean just coming out of bus stop. So those three have kind of spread themselves out a little bit. Obviously Pickles is on the medium tyre and Mike and Sean on the soft. So Mike and Sean will be quicker than Pickles, but have they got enough time? Have they got enough time to close that gap? We shall see. We shall see. In the meantime, Manos has now closed down on Richie. It's closing on him. So they come over the start finish line, probably no more than about half a second or so between the two of them. So let's have a look at their lap times. So Richie there, 58.1. No, sorry, a 59.1. Manos a 57. It's taken 2 seconds out of him on that lap. So I wonder if Richie made a slight mistake. So we'll watch this battle. See if Manos potentially gets a toe up the camel straight from Richie. Maybe has a look down the inside at Lacoon. So 207 miles an hour. So that's pretty quick in one of these. Just closing on Richie. So Cesar's gone into the pits. 6.5 minutes left, 15 litres of fuel, so he did need a quick splash and dash. We'll just see what tires. So Manos is closing on Richie all the time. So fuel going into Cez's car now. He's gone up to 68 litres, and he's gone out on the soft tyres. So Manos alongside Richie now, heading up towards Blanchimont. Is he going to have a look down the inside of him at the bus stop chicane? No, too far behind. So Richie keeps third for the moment. Manos in fourth. Great race between these two. It'll be a clean fight because they're both really, really good drivers, both really clean drivers. More can have a really good race with either of them, and not a problem with them at all. Well, Manos just getting a bit twitchy, maybe just trying to get the power down a little bit too early there, trying to get a run at Richie down towards Erouge, up through Radion, and then onto the Camel Straight. Say great racing between Richie and Manos. Clean, tidy, both trying. So this is looking back out of Richie's car, looking back towards Manos. So Pickles has gone into the pits for fuel, so he couldn't quite make it. So will he come out? Where will he come out? Will he come out ahead or behind Mike, or even behind Sean? So that's another. Yeah, Mike's just got past him. You can see on the totem on the left hand side, Mike's just jumped ahead of Pickles. Will Sean do the same while we're watching this battle between Richie and Manos? So there we are. Cez still out in front. Dan second, and this battle for third and fourth between Richie and Manos. So Pickles looks like he's come back out of the pits behind Mike, but in front of Sean. So the running order is Cez, Dan, Richie, Manos, Zoe, Mike. Oh, Sean's just got past Pickles. It's just changed, and Pickles has just got back past Sean. It looks like those two are having a fantastic race. They've been at it all race long. In the meantime, we're watching this fantastic scrap between Richie and Manos for third and fourth. First and second seem to be settles. So Cez way out in the lead. Manos down the inside into Lacoon. So Richie coming back into him in third part. Can he get him? Not quite. So down towards the hairpin now, and Manos has taken that third place away from Richie, but he's probably too far away to do anything at all about Dan. Let's have a look. So Manos now up to third, just coming down towards Buon, and Dan's just coming through the right, just going into the right hander at Piff Paff. While Says is just coming through the bus stop, so Says has got a huge lead over Dan, and Dan's got a decent lead over Manos and Richie. So I suspect first and second are settled. Third place, third fall still up for grabs. Richie's right on the tail of Manos. Zoe is comfortably in fifth, no one around her to trouble her. Got a decent lead over Pickles, who's now up to 6. Sean 7. Mike's back in the pits again. More fuel, more tyres. Out on another set of softs by looks of things. Or actually, no, looks like the same set of softs. He only stopped to take fuel there, so he perhaps on his previous stop didn't take enough fuel to get to the end of the race. That's unfortunately dropped Mike behind Pickles, and Sean had dropped into 8th. So yeah, he's up. Oh, he's at Lacombe now, and Pickles is just Sean is just exiting Lacombe. So that's hurt Mike. And then Pickles is through the left hand now at Speaker's Corner. Sean's there in the back, lurking in the background as well. So good race between the two of these. Have we got? Yeah, Sean's tyres is on soft. There's just about a minute to go, 40 odd seconds. So will they get another lap in? Let's have a look. Let's go back to the top. So Says is coming through Blanchimont. So he's going to make it through onto another lap. So through he goes to finish lap 30, start lap 31. And he set a new fastest lap of the race at a 1:54.410, which is absolutely fantastic in one of these GR2 cars. Dan is just coming up to Blanchimont now. I think that's just got Mike just in front of him. So Pickles has finished the race. So Pickles is 6, Sean 7, and Mike's going to come through for 8th, and Dan just behind him is going to take 2nd. There we go, Mike, Dan. So Manos, he wasn't ending up that far behind. Manos 3rd, Richie 4th. So Zoe's guaranteed 5th. We'll watch. Here comes Zoe coming down towards Piff Paff, and time that again perfectly for Zoe. Fuel warning light on at the end of this lap, so no dramas there of getting to the end with fuel. And then if we go up top here, we go to Says, who is also just coming down towards Piff Paff. So not gonna quite lap Zoe, but because of the way the timing works, it will show that Zoe will be a lap behind Says. The same with Dan, Manos and Richie, because they've finished and Says made it through to the next lap. So here we go, Zoe through bus stop, I think. Yep, there we are, coming across the line to claim 5th place. And it just leaves Says to come through the winner. First place, so we've got Says 1st, Dan 2nd, Manos 3, Richie 4, Zoe 5, Pickle 6, Sean 7, Mike 8, and AK 9. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed it, feel free to have a look for the Goodwin E-Racing Club on Facebook, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Cheers now.